You're watching 13 Wham ABC. And this is 13 Wham News at 6.
My car is on top of Kent's car.
Trapped as raging floodwaters rise, leaving no time to escape.
Houses down here are destroyed. The sheds are gone. The propane's leaking everywhere. There's cars in the lake. Hey. It's unbelievable down here.
Daring rescues, roads breaking apart. A state of emergency as the storms of August unleashed the floodgates. And good evening, I'm Don Elhart. Aldridge Road out in Parenton remains closed at this hour between Aralt Road and Route 31, but otherwise, all previously closed roads here in Monroe County are now open. We have team coverage tonight from reporters who have been on scene throughout the day. Well, we, of course, have been tracking these fast-moving storms all day. Many of you wondering if more rain's on the way. We're going to go right to that lower box now and see what Chief Meteorologist Glenn Johnson has to say.
You know, Don, think of it this way. The amount of rainfall that they got in Seneca County this morning in just a couple of hours is normally the amount of rain that we may get at the Rochester Airport in the entire summer season. Take a look at the ultimate Doppler radar here. Now, this is look at the estimate of the rainfall, and this is, again, near Lodi. And look at the amount of rain. Now, this is a conservative number. 4 may have been closer to about 6 or 7 inches of rain in that hilly area. That's a big problem. Of course, the other flooding spot was in the southeast corner of Monroe County, right around Fairport and Parenton. They easily got 3, 4, 5 inches of rainfall. Now you can see on the ultimate Doppler radar, the rain is tapering down pretty rapidly here. We still could get a shower on the east side, but I think obviously the worst is over. We do also have a flood warning that is up right now for Irondequoit Creek, and this is going to be until midday on Wednesday. So the showers taper down. But the mess is going to be cleaned up. Temperatures are going to be dropping through the 70s. Now, we're going to get a break from the rain tomorrow, but again, the rain is going to return later this week. I'm going to show you the timing on this in just a couple of minutes.
All right, thank you, Glenn. We are going to go first tonight to Seneca County. Hardest hit as raging floodwaters forced many from their homes in Lodi as they were trapped by that high water and debris. Andrew Banis live in Lodi now with more on those rescues. Andrew?
Yeah, Don, let me just take a step aside, show you what we're looking at here, just so you can see this devastation at home. This area is a campsite here in Seneca County, popular campsite. Many people here overnight, some on vacation, and then those floodwaters hit earlier this morning. Take a look. You can see trees completely uprooted, cars flipped upside down on top of this debris here, wires on the ground, large puddles, and this is after some cleanup has already begun, so you can imagine what this was a few hours earlier. Now, I did speak with one family who made it out of this just in time. The man says that he had friends who were still trapped. I caught up with him about what he saw when this flooding started. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Houses down here are destroyed. The sheds are gone. The propane's leaking everywhere. There's cars in the lake. Hey. It's unbelievable down here.
And again, not only is it just unbelievable images, but also it was very dangerous for quite a while. It's not until just recently they let anybody this close to it. And you can see why. Again, power lines are down, trees uprooted, some houses out here torn apart. They were making sure everybody stayed far enough back until they could get everybody evacuated safely. I'm told at this time there are no injuries in this area, which is very good news, but you can see the cleanup only just beginning here. For now, reporting live in Lodi, Andrew Banis, 13 Wham News.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Yeah, a few days ahead and a lot of cleanup. Talk about a rude awakening. A woman in Lodi woke up to those raging waters, these waters outside her apartment. This is what Rowan Collins saw when she looked out the window. The floodwaters toppled trees, tossed cars around like toys. Collins says her partner woke her up after hearing noises in the garage below their apartment, and it turns out it was their own vehicles being moved by the fast-moving floodwaters.
My car is on top of Kent's car.
We heard some bumping. We live on the second story above the garage. We heard them bumping below us, and we thought it was maybe the landlord's moving some stuff to prepare for a bit of a flood, but instead it was our cars bumping against the garage and a whole bunch of trees.
And the power of that water. The couple was eventually evacuated by rescue crews. They are being assisted by the Red Cross at a nearby church. And they are not alone. Dozens of people had to be evacuated today due to scenes like that. Samantha Miles live at the Lodi Volunteer Fire Department, where it did take a team effort to get everybody to safety. Samantha?
Yeah, Don, the Red Cross opened around 12 today at that church, immediately started feeding folks who were evacuated. Some folks only came with sandals on. They had no warning for this flooding. I spoke with a family visiting from Syracuse. They have a lake house that they stay at on Lower Lake Road, and it started flooding just before 6 this morning. Rescue crews came to them by boat. The family wading through shin-deep water through roads that turned into rivers, even a 5-year-old braving the floods. And it's something, I spoke with a woman who has been trained in rescue response, but she could never anticipate she would be the one rescued by boat with over a dozen other people.
It was scary though. At some point there was a good amount of rushing water and we had to go very slowly. You know, I've been trained in some of these things, so I'm familiar, that I never thought I would be the one on that truck.
Obviously this is an event that overwhelmed the system, overwhelmed the community. That's what brought in all of the state help, all of the other mutual aid, from surrounding communities.
And Don, really remarkable this evening. Out of all the evacuations, 65 people evacuated. No injuries have been reported. And the Red Cross says it will be set up at that church for anybody as long as they need until this all clears. For now, we're live in Lodi. Samantha Miles, 13 WHAM News.
All right, thank you, Samantha. The governor arriving today mid-morning, Andrew Cuomo, in Seneca County to survey the damage. He said DOT crews from the state will be assisting in that cleanup, which could take several days. He also is asking homeowners to prepare for additional rainfall and flooding.
People like to stay in their homes. I understand that. But if you are in an area that is flood prone, it's apparently safe, but it can be ultimately very dangerous to remain in your home.
The governor also asked residents to tell state DOT crews about any clogged culverts or drainage systems to avoid any additional flooding. A state of emergency still in effect in Monroe County. Many roads are now back open. You're looking at the flooding today at Powder Mill Park out in Pittsford. 13 WHAM's Antoinette Delbel was all over the county today. She now joins us from Ellison Park, which remains closed at this hour. Antoinette?
Don, Irondequoit Creek here rising pretty quickly. One person telling me he noticed it rose more than a foot an hour. You can see it's already overflowing. And take a look over here, the parking lot looking more like a pond. Now the concern is that this water will start to flow out onto the road.
From 8:27 this morning till 1 o'clock, I saw it come up 6 feet. This is a natural floodplain where Ellison Park is.
I don't know, maybe I should stay here. The yellow gates were up over at Ellison Park, closed due to downstream flooding along Irondequoit Creek. And several roads were closed throughout the county for a good part of the day, including a portion of Whitney Road in Fairport. The town of Perrington, one of the hardest hit with flooding after 5 to 6 inches of rain fell. That prompted a state of emergency, allowing for road closures and more equipment and manpower.
You know, we always see our community working together with all of our towns, with the city of Rochester to best protect the citizens. That's top priority, making sure that people are safe. We've got our boots on the ground, and the state of emergency allows us to react.
And that state of emergency is expected to stay in effect for the next couple of hours. And they are advising people to not drive through any standing water, although that state of emergency does not restrict any driving. But Monroe County is prepared. They have 40,000 sandbags loaded and ready to go if needed. We're live in Ellison Park. Antoinette Delbel, 13 WHAM News.
All right, thank you, Antoinette and Samantha and Andrew as well. A reminder, you can get live radar updates and updated forecasts by downloading our 13 WHAM weather app on your smartphone and tablet. We also have a full list of roads that are still closed on 13wham.com. And there is still more ahead on 13 Wham News at 6. What we have learned about the arrest of a man outside a home in Greece last night. Plus, of course, continuing coverage on our breaking weather alert states of emergency for Monroe and Seneca counties as rushing floodwaters caused dozens to evacuate. New information tonight as we continue our breaking news coverage on destructive flash floods in the Finger Lakes.
A state of emergency remains in effect in Seneca County and a major cleanup awaits.
My car is on top of Kent's car.
Trapped as raging floodwaters rise, leaving no time to escape.
Houses down here are destroyed. The sheds are gone. The propane's leaking everywhere. There's cars in the lake. It's unbelievable down here.
Daring rescues, roads breaking apart, a state of emergency as storms unleash damaging floods in the heart of the Finger Lakes.
The rain is over, but the recovery has just begun, and tonight we have team coverage directly from the flood zone. Good evening, I'm Don Alhart.
And I'm Ginny Ryan. Roads are still closed in certain areas near the town of Lodi on Seneca Lake. A curfew is also in effect near the epicenter of that deluge. The relentless rain spawned raging rivers of mud and dangerous barricades of debris.
No injuries have been reported. We begin our team coverage tonight with 13 Wham's Samantha Miles, live with the latest from Seneca County. Samantha.
Don and Ginny, that state of emergency is in effect until August 21st. Tonight, the curfew went into effect around 7:30. Quiet out this evening. But Main Street in Lodi is back open. That's good news for folks that were kept from going from one side of town to another. We were not able to access a good chunk of that part today. This as crews begin a long cleanup process from these devastating floods. Rising waters quickly flooding homes and turning Low Lake Road into rivers of debris.
I've lived here all my life, and this is the worst I've seen in this area.
Governor Cuomo declared a state of emergency as streets turned into rising rivers.
It's 4 or 5 feet of large trees, 18, 20-inch diameter trees, large stumps. It's amazing the force of water moved pieces of wood that are hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
With roads underwater, rescue crews were forced to boat to dozens of stranded families.
Really talking about trees that were across the way where you would normally be able to traverse, and to get rescue vehicles in there. Well, that presents an immediate challenge.
Fighting through unpredictable flooding, rescuers walked families through rushing water to safety.
We wanted to get through it, and the only way to really get through it was to walk through it.
It's sort of surreal. It didn't feel very frightening until I was in the water.
A harrowing day for both rescue crews and dozens of people evacuated.
And I'll probably kind of emotionally and physically crash once I can. But right now we're just making sure we're all okay. And crews tell us cleanup could take several days. It will be a major cleanup effort. And Don and Ginny, I just want to emphasize the 65 people that were rescued. No injuries have been reported this evening. We're live in Lodi. Samantha Miles, 13 Wham News.
It's a little bit scary.
It was just a complete river behind the house. Water coming in through the back door, through the kitchen, into the living room.
Houses down here are destroyed. The sheds are gone. The propane's leaking everywhere. There's cars in the lake. It's unbelievable down here.
Many left with nowhere to go as that water rose quickly around them. Torrents of mud and debris hit without warning.
One family had no choice but to huddle in the middle of Seneca Lake, which likely saved their lives. Our team coverage continues now with 13 Wham's Amanda Valdez in Lodi.
Don, to give you an idea of what it looks like out here, the roadway right next to us, it is now a waterfall. The rain so strong and hard, it parted this land right down the middle. Here behind me, you can see this giant sinkhole. This is also a result of these heavy rains. It's full of debris. It's just a giant hole here in the middle of the road. Now, the water is still flowing, but has since receded quite a bit since earlier in the day. However, what's most remarkable about today's stories are the people helping one another to get to safety.
The damage and danger forcing people out of their homes.
It went from no water in the cottage to like a river in the cottage in a matter of just a few minutes. We didn't have any time to do anything.
Jeremy Porter took these photos. He was trapped in a cottage with his wife and 3 small children at Lodi Point.
We knew right away that we were in some trouble. There was no clear way to get to any higher grounds.
Climbing into a float, his family waited here for more than an hour as he called 911, praying someone would come to the rescue.
A man named John Orak came in a canoe and flopped through this giant debris field.
His story of survival similar to that of Rowan Collins, who was also rowed to safety with her partner and cat.
It just sort of sounded like a torrent. It got really, really loud, and just the stuff hitting the garage was really the most frightening part.
My car is on top of Kent's car.
This is what she saw from her window. Trees, sheds, and even boathouses were swept away with the current. The damage stretches for miles. A bridge on Upper Lake Road closed. Pieces of concrete scattered throughout the road. The cleanup barely beginning.
Got dressed, went out and saw that our culvert had actually blown through to the north side of our drive.
Crews working to reconstruct Brenda Eastman's driveway that was once underwater.
It was totally water. Cars were backed up 4 to 5 deep, trying to go through on the west side.
And to give you another idea of some of the other damage we see out here, just behind me here, there was a tree trunk and several underground pipes that are now exposed because this roadway is now open. Now, as for people like Collins, they have not been able to return home to see if their home is still standing. She is now calling her insurance company for help. For now, we're live in Lodi. Amanda Valdez.